Welcome to the March 16th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And another beautiful, lovely show here. You know what? Maybe it's not as good this time. Have you looked into it?
Well, kind of. I thought you were going to say another beautiful, lovely opening read. But I guess you're feeling a bit different.
It was. I did not stutter. You know when they say, "Did I stutter?"
Yeah,
like,
and usually
no,
the response is, "Well, yes, that's why I asked you in the first place," and it's awkward.
By the way, you made me laugh really hard this weekend.
Was this that stupid
the thing on Twitter?
Hello mother, hello father.
Yeah. Because there's a legitimate debate happening, and of course I just make a joke because
it's hardly legitimate.
Yeah, it like people there's like faux outrage about
removing the
using...
term like mother and father from like legal documents for like for like minors, even though
because
for my literal entire life I've never read that. I've only ever read parent or guardian.
Yeah, no, even back in the 90s it was parent or guardian.
Yeah, the 90s was not nearly as PC as now, but they didn't specify mother or father because who the hell knows if people have either or both. Yeah.
And of course I pop in because like everybody who's outraged by this is like stupid.
Full of shit,
so,
yeah.
So I go, well, how am I going to sing about Camp Granada? For anybody who doesn't know, there's an old song that goes, "Hello, mother, hello, father, here I am at Camp Granada."
I don't think I've ever heard that song, like, for real. I've only ever heard it referenced. Like, The Simpsons did it at one point.
Well, Ren and Stimpy had it, like, playing in the background all the time.
I barely watched that show.
Oh, okay. Well, it was in Austin Powers 3.
Well, I mean, I forgot everything else about that movie, so why not that, too?
Hello, Maja. Hello, Faja. Here I am at Camp Granada.
Ugh, boys, that sounds like an Austin Powers 3 level of joke.
It was. But you popped in and say, "Hello, parent. Hello, guardian. Here I am at Camp Lagard."
Yeah, Camp Grenardian.
Grenardian. I laughed a good long time on that, and I sent it to everybody I know, and nobody laughed.
Yeah, I was like, I never received any feedback. Oh.
And now I am telling more people about it who won't laugh.
Yeah, like there's just like this is one of those memes where you just show like picture of average listener of this podcast, and they're just like staring with a straight face, like, okay, that was the joke. All right,
just get on to the news.
Yeah, could you do your fucking reactive? Thank you.
In another news, I got a haircut.
Oh my god! So did I last week, actually.
You did not lose as much hair as I did.
No.
I had shoulder length hair for the first time and only time in my life. But I can't give you a compliment because I can't see you.
That's true.
Yeah. You could give me one, but you won't.
Yeah, I want it to be even and fair.
All right, let's move on to the news. Not a whole lot happened this week, actually. Like a very surprising little, but like what did happen was really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this is a rare case where the majority of the items on this list are not like, okay, like I'm actually pretty hyped about like over half of these things. And like not all the news we do on Reactive is like necessarily hype worthy. A lot of it is just like data points sometimes, like, oh, this company acquired this other company, but this is stuff that a lot of this like I actually have personal interest in.
Yeah, this stuff pushes our buttons, and you know this is stuff that we like, and like chief among them is our first news item, which you broke the news to me on this, and I was fucking psyched.
Yeah, because my brother broke the news to me. Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge got revealed this week, and
it kind of sort of has like a better than Nintendo quality, but reminiscent of Turtles 2, the arcade game kind of presentation.
Yeah. So the way that it's going to be made by the Scott Pilgrim devs,
Yeah.
which is really neat, and it will be published by the Streets of Rage 4 people. So,
So
which
instead
is
of
.emu.
picking up pizza and going pizza time, you can pick up poutine in this game too. I'm assuming poutine
Well,
time.
well, I just thought that was so cool in Scott Pilgrim that like the money was like Canadian money. Like you never see that.
Yeah, I mean
Kind of
that
thing.
whole thing does take place in Canada. So and like
You pick
apparently
up loonies and toonies.
this is something. Yeah, this is something that went over my head. But I was watching the Video Games Awesome play this, like the Video Games Awesome crew play this like years ago. But they were marking out for certain buildings on the backgrounds because they were like Canadian like store chains and stuff like that I wouldn't have recognized. They're like, what, really? Like stuff like that's kind of cool.
So, the first thing that I have to say about this particular game is, there have been several attempts to recreate the magic of the two arcade Ninja Turtles arcade games. The original and Turtles in Time are beloved by a lot of kids because they also had really good home ports. Both of them had really good home ports at the time. I mean, the NES
both
one,
home ports have extra levels actually.
yeah, the NES one is pared down in terms of graphics, and it is only 2-player as opposed to 4-player. But it is legitimately fun on its own, and like has its own balancing and all that kind of stuff. So it could be argued that game is better than the arcade game because the arcade game is very much a quarter muncher.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that for both games. The arcade versions obviously have better graphical quality and smoother movements, but the home versions are, not quarter munchers, but they also just have more going on. Like, except for what you said about the 4-player capability, they're probably the definitive versions.
Yeah, in fact, Turtles in Time might be one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. The SNES version is actually superior in my book.
Didn't they try releasing it one more time, like Shell Shocked or something like that?
So here's the thing: it was remade on the Xbox 360 as reshelled.
Reshelled, okay.
I'm not sure if that one came to the PS3 or not.
I don't know, but apparently it wasn't very well received.
Yeah, it wasn't well received, and it got delisted very quickly. It was actually one of the first high-profile delistings of a console game. There was, but people like knew like a week ahead of time, so like people could actually like still download it if they really wanted it to when they heard the news. So I did, but it really isn't worth it because the original or the arcade game is so much better. So what made the first one good is its attention to detail. It was made by Konami, so this was arcade pixel art at its finest. The music was great. Had a lot of style. That it was just so good. It had the characters and everything.
It had Pizza Hut tie-in.
Yeah, the Pizza Hut tie-in for the first one, for the arcade game.
If you bought the NES version way back in the day, I think it came with like a coupon to Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut coupon, yeah. There's even a billboard, a Pizza Hut billboard that falls on people on the Foot Clan foot soldiers. It was a lot of fun, and all the turtles had different stats, which was unusual.
That was the thing, because I remember reading about, but in the original Turtles game, didn't they have the same stats, except that like you'd only ever want to play as Donatello because he has the longest reach?
No, they actually had different stats in the original game.
They did? Okay.
Maybe just their weapons were made it so that only Leonardo and Donatello were good,
really
and
viable.
Then Michelangelo was meh, and Raphael was just garbage.
Yeah, but meanwhile, in later games, like Raphael, I think has like low health but high damage output or something like that.
Yeah. So usually how it goes is Donatello's the slowest, but he's also the strongest. He usually has those stats. And Michelangelo and Leonardo tend to be well-rounded in one area, in most areas, but trade off in the middle somewhere. And Raphael is usually the opposite of Donatello. He has not as much. He's faster, but doesn't do as much damage, something like that. But yeah, I just everybody I know loved those games when I was a kid, and we'll go over them more actually on Thursday. I don't want to keep getting into this, but what made the old games special is that they had a whole lot of charm.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun, and they represented the cartoon well. It was a big phenomenon at the time, and it was the biggest property going at the time.
Yeah, 80s Turtles was... I mean, Turtles are still going today, but 80s
Yeah.
Turtles really helped put them on the map. They were comics first, but the 80s cartoon show really took off.
Yeah, and so there's a lot going on. There's a successful cartoon show, a successful movie, three successful... there have been 6 theatrical films. 6. So, I mean, it's just a juggernaut, and I don't know how many TV series at this point. There's been a billion.
Yeah, there's 1,000, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, many attempts have been made to recapture what people love about this. So there was of course, that remake you were talking about. Of course, there have been kind of subpar ports of the arcade games too. During the GameCube, PS1, original Xbox era, Konami released 3 Ninja Turtles games based off of the second cartoon series, called I think they were just called TMNT, 1, 2, and 3, and they weren't good, but they had some appeal to them because they were a 4-player beat 'em up at the time, and at the time, very few of those were being made.
Yeah,
so,
I can't think of too many, Gauntlet, Dark Legacy.
Yeah, there was a bit of a novelty at the time in order to do that. There are a lot more, believe it or not, now than there were then. But I think 2 of them had ports of the arcade games, that they were bad ports, but people still searched, found them.
Yeah, nobody still had their old Nintendo.
Well, but there had never been an arcade perfect version of the 2 arcade games before, so that was a novelty.
Sure.
So people picked those up because of that. There was a a 360 PS3 port of the original arcade game, in conjunction with the TMNT movie, which is the 4th one, that Ubisoft helped get back onto Xbox Live Arcade and PS3, and that's of course been delisted as well, and then reshelled as well. That's been delisted. So and none of them have been as good as the original NES and SNES ports, plus the original arcade games. None of them have been. There was a GBA game that was based off of that TMNT movie that did play well. That was pretty good, but was obscure. And then they made even an arcade. We'll go more into it on Thursday, but
Shredder's Revenge.
This game is really, really looks really cool, and it's made by really good people. Also, it looks like it's based off of the cartoon show that we liked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It looks like it's an homage to the old NES arcade game.
Yeah, because I'm looking here. First of all, Bebop and Rocksteady are not comic characters. They are from that cartoon. They're from the original cartoon. They were original characters. So, they are both in there, and they look like they're old incarnations, but modernized. But they don't look like any of the updated versions. They look closer to what we remember. So I'm really excited. It looks like a Konami game would if Konami, bothered to do anything. And it's going to be 4-player, and and it's going to be co-op, and I'm assuming it's going to have online co-op and all that stuff. So it looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it. And obviously you are, or at least you thought that I would be excited about it.
Yeah.
So. I think it may even have Paul Robertson working on this as well, because he's the one who did the art for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Ah, nice.
So yeah, it says the same people that made Mercenary Kings, and he did the art for Mercenary Kings. So yeah, this looks great. I am amped up and excited. Definitely seek out the trailer because it's a lot of fun. Moving on from that, what do we got here? We got so we've talked about this in length as well, but Bethesda is now officially part of Microsoft. So Microsoft, of course, released like a trailer, or like a welcome video, with a sizzle reel of all the popular Bethesda brands, and it's just like, Doom, the original Doom's with us now, guys. You can rest assured, that kind of thing. So, this might work out well in the long run because some of Bethesda's stuff, it's like hit or miss. Like some of it's like amazing, and then some of it's like, whoa, like,
well, you know
why'd
what this
you
makes me
release this in
think
the
of?
state?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, Bethesda isn't beholden to anybody because it's its own property, but now that it's owned by Microsoft, maybe someone will actually, like, make sure they finish their fucking games before they release them. It makes me think of Silicon Knights with, Eternal Darkness and Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, like, it worked because Nintendo was like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah, so, I mean, what's also cool about this is that, like, I generally don't like big corporations merging, but Bethesda like messes up a lot, and they do really good work otherwise. I mean, their id brand has some really, really good stuff and has been really rock solid in the last like 10 years, I would say. So hopefully Microsoft will be like, don't release a Fallout product until it's done and good, because like Microsoft has the money. They're not, they're gonna wait until something's good rather than just push it out like unlike somebody like an EA or something like that, or an Activision who just farts out something just because there's a due date, So Bethesda was, I believe, was like that because that's the only way that Fallout 76 must have gotten released in the state it was.
A lot of their games release in that a similar state. It's just
that
Fallout
3 was kind of like that.
Fans can mod it. Like Fallout 76 was online, so you can't just tweak the game. So its errors were all the more glaring because they weren't hastily fixed by superfans. Like Bethesda's been releasing broken products forever.
Yeah, luckily, like I said, the id stuff has been pretty solid. I mean,
that's fortunate. Yeah, because the Doom 2016 is a Bethesda game, and that game is
and the Wolfenstein
amazing.
games have been good. The Wolfenstein games have been good too. So
fair enough. I haven't played those.
Prey is supposed to be good, but I haven't played it. So Prey was one of those like it got released and nobody cared, but then people were like, wait, no, there's something good here.
Yeah.
And I think the Evil Within, like the second game, everybody raves about the second one. So I haven't played it yet either. But
yeah, I still have to play both of those.
Yeah. They're both up our alley. I mean, it's a Mikami on that one.
Yeah, Shinji Mikami.
Yeah. So I definitely want to go back and play those two games. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, Doom being a Microsoft product makes a lot of sense, considering it's it helped popularize PC gaming in the mainstream. I can't think of any other game other than Myst that did like a similar kind of thing at the time. I mean,
Math Blaster Episode 1: Insert Your Spot.
No, but I mean, there's The Sims. That was a really big game. And,
The Sim anything really.
And Minecraft until it came to consoles, right?
Yeah, Minecraft just exploded. Yeah.
Yeah, but like this Doom was really the first. I would say it's probably the first mainstream PC title. It was ubiquitous. It was something that like even people that didn't have computers knew about it. You know what I mean? Whereas everything before that was kind of almost like a cultist property. Even the most popular of PC games didn't really penetrate into mainstream consciousness too much. Except maybe like Ultima, that kind of thing. But even Doom is way more of a household name than Ultima ever was. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, King's Quest, Monkey Island,
King's
all that
Quest,
stuff.
yeah, King's Quest kind of was the birth of adventure gaming in general. It was a graduation from text.
Yeah, I mean, and Zork before that, right? So,
Yeah, well, Enzork was text. Yeah, so
yeah,
King's Quest was
exactly.
like the next level.
Yeah, but I can't think. Like Doom just had an appeal that like everybody really understood and liked.
Yeah, the aesthetic and the sound designs. It didn't sound like beep boop video game music.
And it presented a world like unlike anything else had before. I mean, there were first person games before that, but this game was fast, and
It was fast, and its music was just like bangers, and the
yeah,
shotgun sounds were like just freaking intense and realistic sounding for the time.
and it really tricked you into believing it was a 3D environment, even though it wasn't.
Yeah, it's very convincing.
Yeah, I don't think any other game before that really even came close. There's Ultima Underworld, but those and all the games on that engine, including System Shock 1, are so clunky. So yeah, I mean there could be some good things coming out of this. So who knows? But there haven't been any announcements of any exclusives or anything like that. And if there is an exclusive, I don't think it will be forever. And if there is, it's going to be a PC and Xbox. Because releasing it on PC benefits them. So they would release it on PC and Xbox, no problem. And as of late, Microsoft's been releasing their games on everything. They put Cuphead on everything. That's a Microsoft game. Or
Yeah,
in the
Cuphead's
Blind
on
Forest.
PS4 now.
Or in the Blind Forest. I mean, there's only certain things they don't release on everything. Gears of War and Halo are about it. I can't think of anything else. Killer Instinct all those games are PC and Xbox. By the way, they're not like even Xbox exclusives anymore. I don't think they believe in like console exclusives anymore. Like pure console exclusives. I can't think the last time that Xbox had an exclusive, I think was that Capcom DLC for
Dead Rising 3.
Dead Rising 3. I can't think of anything after that.
What they did have that was exclusive, they undid, like Killer Instinct. That was Xbox exclusive, but now it's on PC as well.
How about that pirate game?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but like I don't
like
care,
an MMO
so I forgot
almost.
his title.
Yeah, it's like
I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
Sea of something.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves.
Thieves.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But that had a cult following at best. But yeah, we'll see how they handle it. But I think they're going to handle it in a way that you like more than you don't like. Moving on from that, Square Enix said that they're coming out with a Square Enix Presents, which sounds like similar to like a Nintendo Direct or something like that. Announced for March 18th. They didn't reveal anything or tease anything yet.
I wonder if it's another Final Fantasy VII game that's not progress on the remake.
I don't think so. I think I think a lot of people are thinking this is going to be IDOS focused, which means they're Western games. So like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, that kind of thing. They haven't released anything on since the third Tomb Raider reboot game. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I can't think of anything on the Western front for Square Enix. So
we'll you're saying in that regard,
it's all quiet.
All's quiet. Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens this week, and we'll of course report on it. And then limited run games opened up pre-orders for No More Heroes 1 and 2 for Switch.
Yeah, we mentioned this last time, but I just gotta say I'm happy that they're pre-orders and not the quick get them before they're gone releases. They've been a lot more generous with their pre-order stuff lately.
In fact, I think this is how everything should be done.
I mean, for real. I mean, like some of the really
window.
popular stuff has disappeared in literally like under 5 minutes. Like
Analog
either
should
you're
just
there
do
or
this. Analog should just do this and fulfill all the orders. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they did that with at the NT Mini Noir, so maybe they'll end up doing that later, for other stuff. But That way, the scalping isn't as much of an issue. You can order as many as you want. We'll fulfill it. Just make sure that you get in within the window. They of course put regular editions of both games and also special editions of both games.
Yep.
You can buy them in a set if you like, but I don't think it's any cheaper. It's just easier to order.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just you could click once instead of twice for the price of both. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought this game how many times now, and I'm still buying it one last time.
I bought it once. I bought it in 2006.
Well,
or whenever it was released, 2007.
Well, you also bought the PS3 game, so
no, I didn't.
You didn't buy the PS3 game?
No, I was going to when we were at that one PAX East. I was like, maybe I could find a copy to get a Suda 51 autograph, and nope, wasn't there.
So I didn't know you didn't have a copy of Paradise. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, nope.
Wow. That surprises me. But
I didn't care quite enough. I already beat the crap out of that game, and Paradise has, like, I guess it's in HD.
I just bought it to have it. It was just one of those things.
Yeah.
Because it does have some unique content, like being able to fight the bosses from 2.
Yeah, there's a few No More Heroes 2 bosses, and it has like a gallery mode for the characters.
So I kind of just wanted it for its uniqueness, but I bought the, right when it launched on Switch. I bought them right away because I was really excited, and I no regrets there. But I do love this game, these two games very, very much. So getting them physically, it should be a lot of fun. So I'm getting the regular editions. I'm at least not splurging for the limited. Are you getting limited?
I'm considering it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's totally worth it. It's just how many times am I gonna buy this, and how much money am I gonna sink into it?
That's the thing. They're a little more expensive than I'd like, but
it has good stuff.
Yeah, it's like the soundtrack CDs are freaking bangers.
Yeah, the soundtrack's great, and it's a cool presentation. It's that Santa Destroyed flag, so yeah, it's neat. Moving on from that, Yuri got her reveal trailer for King of Fighters 15, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, these trailers are really, so far, they've been like, yup, you were pretty sure they'd be here, and don't worry, we're confirming they are. Because, they've had, like, Kyo and Benimaru, so, like, of course Yuri's going to be there. Yeah. So it's like, hooray, we get to see her 15 look.
Yeah, well, she is a fan-favorite character.
Yeah, she's a classic. She's been around since Art of Fighting 2.
Yeah, she's a cool character. What is she, Ryo's sister?
Yeah, because she was the damsel in distress in Art of Fighting 1, and then she's a playable character in 2.
Yeah. So,
because remember the end of Art of Fighting 1, that classic, wait, that's our... oh, what could it be?
Yeah, Mr. Karate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why would the dad kidnap his own daughter? What?
Yeah, like, you got me, that was a twist, but, like, it makes no sense. Okay, thanks for that. But I think I've mentioned this before, but, like, I hadn't played Art of Fighting. My first experience with that ending was X-Men vs. Street Fighter, where it's like the joke ending, where when you beat the game with Dan, like you see a defeated Akuma, and Sakura tells Dan, "Wait, no, Dan, he's our..." And like I didn't know any Street Fighter lore. I was like, Dan and Sakura are siblings, and fucking Akuma's their dad? I was like, what? I didn't realize that was a parody. And Dan himself is like Ryo's body and Robert's head, like his existence is an Art of Fighting parody. But I didn't get that was a joke at the time. I was like, this came out completely out of nowhere.
Dan is apparently pretty awesome in Street Fighter V, by the way.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's like the twist. He's actually decent.
Do you remember what his... Because in Capcom vs. SNK 2, if you play with the C groove, you had level 1, 2, and 3 versions of your special moves. So if you wait and build up even more bar, you could do like a super version of your super move. Do you know what Dan's like level 3 taunt is?
No.
Like his level 3 super is a taunt that goes on for way too long. The other player has to just like let him do it. But if he pulls it off, then it completely fills his bar, which you had to spend all of to do that move. So it's completely pointless.
That's really amazing. And like anybody who does that is like a very like a really cool guy.
Yes.
In the tournament setting.
He just keeps like somersaulting and doing his like shake his fist like and finishes it up with an uppercut like yahoo! It's just like the ultimate taunt that fills back the bar that he just spent right now.
Dan's great because you realize that he's just a normal guy, but like he's also like probably one of the strongest normal guys on the planet.
Well, that's the thing. Dan is the Mr. Satan or Hercule of the Street Fighter universe. Like Dan's a badass like by our regular standards, person. But like Ryu throws fireballs. Like, what are you gonna do about that?
every like Dalsim has stretchy limbs. Like,
yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like,
Blanca is a swamp monster that shoots lightning out of his back.
Yeah, like Dan's just like a talented martial artist who like Dan is Ryo in a Street Fighter world.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Like Ryo's ultimate super move in Art of Fighting is basically a Hadouken. But you have to play the whole really game to earn that, and Ryu, that's just like his basic move.
Yep. I forgot about the progression elements of Art of Fighting. Jesus.
Yeah, the original game where you had to like earn a move. It's very clever, but it's also kind of annoying.
Oh, in a versus setting, which is what you would normally be playing, it makes no sense.
And you taunt to build up your bar.
Yeah, nah. Well, I'm excited for KOF 15, just like I'm always excited about SNK stuff because they're the plucky company that could. Like a lot of stuff has tried to stop SNK from making games, and they've lived through it all. Multiple bankruptcies but they've managed to live through it with like a lot of their a lot of the OG people still there, kind of like working on stuff and putting out good stuff. Like the games are good, so like and they're keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, it's not as important as Street Fighter. Street Fighter's the cornerstone of all fighting games and always has been, but it's there. It's in the conversation, which is really neat. I just love SNK's characters. Their characters are my favorite. I love them. Moving on from that, this is something that I thought was just really awesome. I don't know if you had seen this before I put this in the notes, but Cyanide and Happiness put out a video game and like didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Cyanide and Happiness is one of my favorite and one of the longer running webcomics, and it's very consistent. They put out many per week, and by four different guys, right?
I don't know.
But they're really, really funny. I don't know what your opinion of Cyanide and Happiness is generally, but
I followed them for a while and I quite liked their stuff, but eventually I just kind of fell off. It's not like I was like, oh, this sucks now. That I just kind of stopped.
I did too, but then I got back into it because they're very active on Twitter, so it's very easy to like follow them and when they post. And Chris Wilson is my absolute favorite. All four of the guys have a different style of drawing stick figures, which is really funny. but they all have a distinctive style, and out of them all, Chris to me is my favorite. But they're all good. But like Chris knows how to draw stupid faces really well. And I just really like him. But and his sense of humor is just dark enough for me. And what I like about that comic is like sometimes it borders on shit posting before like shit posting was really a thing.
Yeah.
Like they have a tradition of putting out a week of the most depressing comics ever, which aren't funny. They're just super super depressing.
Yeah, like every day there isn't even a joke. It's just like
worse.
Like you actually feel bad reading them, and that's the point. Like that's just it. And they've done that on some of their animated stuff as well. Just like this is gonna be a miserable animated one, and it just sucks to watch. Like by design.
Yeah. And I guess that's the joke. The joke is that it's not funny.
Yeah, no, we told you this is a sad one. Like, all right.
But it's usually just it's so miserable. It's kind of funny, just because of
Yeah, like I didn't think they'd go that far. Like it's
how
like
miserable it is.
actually depressing to read some of those. Like depending who you are, you might just want to skip them for a week.
Oh yeah, no, it's not for everybody. That's for sure. There's
Some
some
of that
trigger
stuff is
warning
hard to
stuff.
sit through.
Yeah, but normally they're really funny. I can't believe that they've been doing it for years, like at least 10 years. And ever since I've even met them, and they've made like custom. They did a custom art battle for me on the back of one of their posters,
Nice.
where the four of them just I paid them like an extra $10 after buying the poster, and all of them just started scribbling stuff and just drawing all kinds of whatever came to their head, interacting with each other. It was amazing. I need to find it. I hope I still have it somewhere, because like the actual poster itself takes a backseat to that.
Sure.
And I love it. I love their collected editions. They're really funny, and I love their board game. Their board game's really fun, because you basically just make a Cyanide and Happiness comic, and it's easy to do that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing you brought to MagFest that one time.
I don't think I ever brought that one. I could be wrong though. I did bring the Penny Arcade one time, but
Maybe that's what it was. Because I know we played something in Perry's room. I thought it was the Cyanide and Happiness one.
maybe one of us brought it, but I didn't own it until recently.
Maybe it was someone else because I don't own it.
I own it now, and I own the Exploding Kittens game by the Oatmeal. That one's a lot of fun. But yeah, they released a video game out of nowhere called Freak Apocalypse, and it looks to be like an old school point and click adventure game, but with their type of humor. So I am actually pretty excited to see this because it's out on Switch now. So I need to see what the reaction is. I'm sure it's good because these guys have an integrity thing about them, despite like them releasing a lot of like goofy stuff. They specifically were offered I think they were offered like a show on G4, and they decided not to do a television show because they wanted complete control over the product.
Would compromise whatever. Yeah, like we love your stuff, but we're gonna have you operate under these and these caveats. That's not the word I was looking for, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Conditions.
Yeah, and they probably wanted complete ownership of it as well. And for four guys to get along that well over intellectual property over a long period of time, that's a pretty big feat. Like you see it with bands all the time. Bands all the time break up because they can't get along money wise.
Yeah.
But these guys have integrity to them, believe it or not. So I would assume that this is a good product. I mean, their animations have always been funny. They release animations online because they have complete control over it there.
Yeah.
And they do whatever they want. They said we could have gone in and taken the money, but we decided not to because we wanted to be creative instead.
Yeah.
Which is for them to be as successful as they are as webcomic guys, I mean, it is so hard to make a living off of that. There's Penny Arcade and them, and the Oatmeal and Perry Bible Fellowship, and that's just about it. I mean, everybody else isn't nearly as popular. There might be somebody I'm missing in there, but to make a living off of this stuff is very, very difficult. And Penny Arcade is the one that made it the best. They for better or for worse. I don't even like those guys anymore.
The Penny Arcade?
Yeah.
Weren't they like banned from their own convention? Like Penny Arcade doesn't come to the Penny Arcade Expo anymore, the PAX?
I don't think they're involved in the production of it anymore. I think they sold their share of it or something.
Sure.
But I also know that they kind of like shit the bed with a bunch of like shitty comments that they made that were antithetical to their fan base. Their fan base loved them, and they betrayed them with some bad comments, like sexist stuff, insensitive stuff.
Yeah.
and it really backfired on them. They really had it made, and I used to love them. I used to love listening to their podcast when they had their podcast too. So it's really a shame. But just like a lot of other internet things that have gone south over time. I just watched an expose on Doug Walker. Jesus.
I bet I know exactly what you watched too.
yeah, exactly. Talking about his sketch show is really weird.
I actually followed that sketch show at the time.
Really, I didn't know anything about it.
I was an avid a fan back in the day. I made it onto the site myself.
Yeah, you were a contributor. You were a guy with the glasses.
Yeah, that's true. No, not that one. So. That one. No, not that one either.
But Cyanide and Happiness is, I wholeheartedly recommend. Just if you like that kind of thing, definitely go and seek them out. But you may have even seen some of them go viral because some of their stuff has gone viral. I wear the cape, I make the whoosh noises.
That is pretty great.
But yeah. I'm excited to try out this game. Moving on to this is kind of weird, and I'll preface this after I reveal it. But did you see this before I say something?
No, this is one of the things I'm more excited about, I think.
Okay, so the creators of White Day, on White Day, which is today.
The day we're recording this is March 14th. Really, really quickly. Vice, do you know what White Day actually is?
White Day is the reciprocation of Valentine's Day.
Yes.
In Asian cultures.
Yeah, so depending on the country, this might be a little different, but I think in most of them, on Valentine's Day, girls give chocolate to boys they like. It's not like a mutual thing like it is in the West where everybody gives everybody everything. But a month later on White Day, boys give stuff to girls they like, and they're usually white things.
Like marshmallows or white
marshmallows,
chocolate.
White chocolate. Lingerie is also popular. So that's what White Day is. And regarding the video game White Day,
the idea is that you're supposed to reciprocate to the person who specifically that gave it to you.
Yeah, it would be awkward as hell if you went to somebody else.
And sometimes it's a pity thing. It's I'm giving you chocolate because I feel like it.
There might also be the more casual at the workplace, hey, happy White Day.
Yeah, they specifically say it so you don't get the wrong idea. There's a word for it. This is my obligation chocolate or something like that.
Gotcha.
Say something like that, yeah.
But yeah, in the computer game White Day, because White Day was originally released in 2000 or 2001, Korean only.
Yeah, this was a game that was really an underground thing that passed from person to person.
We've heard about Japan exclusive games, but this is a Korean exclusive, legitimately quality horror game that not many people knew about.
And got fan translated, oddly enough.
I Let's Played it. That's one of my more viewed playthroughs on my channel, probably because not everybody was playing fucking White Day. No one heard of it at the time. But the basic premise of that game is there's a girl you like at school. You're a new student, so I guess you Valentine's Day didn't happen, right? You were somewhere else. So what you were gonna do to be cute is sneak into school after hours and put some I guess it was chocolates on this girl's desk, so she would come in the next day and be like, "Ooh, I have a secret admirer." But then the doors lock.
To be very innocent.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. But then the doors lock because it's after hours, and whoops, school's haunted by ghosts, and the janitor, who is possessed by a ghost, is chasing anybody he sees and attempting to kill them with a baseball bat. And in fact, you see him do that to somebody very early on, and you're like, oh, fuck. So here's your game. Now, that game still has not been localized, but there was a remaster.
And also, he's very disturbing because he blows his whistle at you, and that's very...
Yeah, he still acts like a janitor, and he still is a janitor. If he sees that the lights are on, he'll search that room and then turn off the lights and close the door. But when he sees you, he blows his whistle at you and chases you, and you're like, oh my god. But that game never did get localized, but a remake of it did. I think it was on phones at first, but it's also now on Steam and PS4 with. I forgot if it had VR support. I think there was talks of the VR
they made
thing.
a VR version later, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the older game I think is a little bit better. The new one relies a little too much on jump scares and fucking QTEs for the equivalent of boss fights. But otherwise, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the original with obviously better presentation and a whole bunch of downloadable costumes and new ghosts. Some of which I think were actually patched out of the original game. So play the game on hard mode for the full experience, even though the game's hard even on normal. So anyway, that's the White Day intro. So now for the actual reactive consciousness stuff.
So the reason why I said this is weird is they already announced White Day 2, but it was a different White Day 2. So Silicon Era reports that this is weird because in 2016 they announced White Day 2 Swan Song for PlayStation VR, and it never came out.
That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
It never came out. It never got released. I think the original game does have a VR version on.
Does it actually?
I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
I remember it.
I mean, it is a first-person game, so the potential is there.
Yeah, let me see this.
But yeah, I vaguely remember hearing about Swan Song, but then yeah, I guess it just kind of disappeared.
Well, it had like a release date of like 2018, and then like was never mentioned ever again. So yeah, very weird stuff. And so they release an announcement about a different White Day 2, which has a different subtitle. So
yeah, the flower that tells lies. Which,
yeah.
By the way, I kind of like that the name because all of the endings in the original White Day are named after flowers. Like and there are 8 endings. Whiteday. So like Y is U, the U branch, which I think the U tree is associated with death anyway. And what do you know? That's like the worst ending, and you know, etc. There's stuff like that.
Yeah. So
I forgot what the other ones are.
Yeah. The first game did have VR support for PS4.
What do you know?
Anyway, it was just unusual. So I assume that this one has better footing, or will have better footing.
Yeah, because this company, like, they made White Day and then just disappeared, and I don't even know who did the re-release. Was it still Sonnery? Like, I don't know. One thing that's kind of cute, by the way, is one of the... No shit. One of the costumes you can get for the remake is just a super pixelated look, like the way the characters looked in the PC game from the year 2000, which I thought was kind of funny.
Wow. But yeah. I mean, this is exciting. I mean, in our tastes, we always love creepy stuff, horror kind of games. So this is something cool.
And even though it's been released here, like it's still a pretty underground game. You don't just see it all over the store shelves, even when it was new.
Yeah. And moving on from that, that kind of goes along with our next subject, which I thought was neat. I actually linked this on Twitter to you very recently. I don't know whether you got a chance to take a look at it.
I saw like the link, but I didn't go into it. I just saw like the name. I was like, what is this?
So this is a fan compilation called Haunted PS1 Demo Disc 2021. So apparently, they a bunch of indie developers are putting together 25 like lo-fi 3D games in one download, like with PS1 style graphics.
That's pretty sexy.
And they're all like mini games. They're demos for games that don't exist.
Yeah, I think I've seen something like this on like it was made at a Game Jam or something, like on an itch.io, like the Siren Head one.
Yeah,
where you're walking in the mountains for like a minute, and then this tall creature with like I don't like those megaphone looking things on pillars that would do like the air raid sirens.
Oh
Just
yeah, yeah.
starts walking out after you, and you're like, what? And then the demo ends.
Apparently, they did one last year too. I might have even talked about this. They did a demo disc 2020. I did not know
Nice.
that, and it's on itch.io. I need to link this to you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's for actual PS1. The idea is that the aesthetic is PS1. I think.
Yeah, that Siren Head thing was like PS1 like.
Yeah, I'll I threw that to you so you can investigate. But this looks like
Sure.
a lot of fun. I will add this to my collection on itch.io along with billion other things.
Yeah.
Because I bought that Black Lives Matter bundle, and
same.
that just came with everything. But yeah, I'm just excited to mess around with this stuff. I mean, that's what's cool. What was cool about demo discs? You used to like check out games you would never play, normally, and this is all horror themed stuff. Which is even cooler. Oh man, some of this stuff looks fucked, which is I'm happy about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm okay with this.
But yeah, I'm real. It's coming out later this month, and it looks like it's all gonna be free. So definitely check it out on Twitter and itch.io because this looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna follow this Twitter account. This looks like totally our jam. Because they make games like that kind of games that we like to collect, but like in the old school style. It's just neat. Moving on from that, I did want to talk a little bit about this just because we talked about it before, but the PS1 Memory Card Pro is now getting a larger pre-order. I think it's still up. I was able to pre-order one this time around.
Nice.
Did you get yours yet?
No, but I got the announcement that it shipped.
Okay, because I was going to say a lot of people are saying they got theirs.
Sure.
So, like we talked about before, this is a newfangled memory card that allows you to have infinite space on it through an SD card for the PS1. You can use it on most PS2 FATs, I think all the PS2 FATs, but only for PS1 games. But this is really neat. It has like as many pages as you would ever want. You can transfer files. You can even archive your old memory card files on it.
Sure, because like a basic function of the PS1 card is that you can copy files from one card to another.
There were some really neat features of this that I didn't realize. There's actually like a little screen, a little digital screen on it.
Actually, the PS1 has a VMU.
Yeah, basically, people were talking about like the possibilities of coming out with an actual VMU that might have some battery life or might be able to be recharged or whatever, or have some expandability because VMUs were small too. In fact, I would say that VMUs felt like they were even smaller than PS1 memory cards. At least with most PS1 games, only took up one slot or two. There were some games that took up more than that, like sports games and like creating games. Like if you played RPG Maker, of course you had.
For PS1.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that like Hexen is just an entire memory card.
Why Hexen? I guess because it's like a Metroidvania, you could be anywhere in that game.
Yeah, you could save like every little thing you do.
Yeah, but yeah, this was really cool. I watched a review video from Retro RGB, and they loved it. And I really didn't have any hang-ups about this because I thought it was going to be good. Castlemania Games and I Am 8-Bit, I think, was there 8-Bit Mods? No, it was 8-Bit Mods. Are putting this out, and they're both highly regarded. So and have had very successful stuff in the past. Castlemania Games in particular has a really good reputation for their products. So I was confident in it, and luckily it seems like that's the case. And it just looks great. I also linked to Lotus on Twitter that somebody who there's a guy who used to put out a lot of Mr. Update videos. His name is Pez. I think his name is Pez. something or other. But anyway, while I'm looking for that, he really wanted to find a decent archive of PS1 save files because there are a lot of like fighting games and things like that require you to unlock secret characters and all that kind of stuff. And take some of them take a long time. I mean, this isn't just like RPG stuff where you want to get to the end. There's like some legitimate stuff that you have to put a lot of extra time into and grinding, and especially for back then, your fighting characters weren't always all unlocked, so it got to be really annoying. Some of them have some legitimate like really tough things that you need to do, or a lot of time that you need to put into in order to. John Perry, Pez82. So he's putting together an archive of some of the most useful save files that you could put on this thing. So there's some neat stuff in here. I think it's a great idea. There's things like Bust a Groove has extra characters. Bushuda Blade has extra characters. I think it's really hard to unlock the final character of Bushuda Blade because he has a gun. So yeah, there's some really good stuff in here, especially if you're if you're looking for stuff like that. So I recommend, and he's looking for more and more all the time. There's certain things in there that are unlocked. All the stuff in Resident Evil 2 DualShock Edition. So if you want to dive directly into playing the survival modes and stuff like that, go for it. Some of those are really hard to unlock, right? Aren't they?
Resident Evil 2,
Well, you still have to do it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you lose steam after you beat the game
Resident Evil 3 is pretty grindy with its mercenary mode, though.
Yeah. So I was really looking forward to this, and I just got my PS1 back from being modded. So I have my PS1 digital in there, and my X Station in there, and I'll have this memory card Pro, and I'll be all set.
Yeah, I still need to send my digital and X Station out.
I'm gonna work on an archive too. That way we can get some a good collection on for the X Station here, and I'll get your input. I'm sure you'll be like, put every version of Resident Evil 2 plus all of the demos. Please.
I already made that video.
You forgot this one.
Yeah, I did. I was unaware of 2 things, I think.
Yeah, well, like, I didn't forget. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's so presumptuous. Oh, you're right. I recorded the footage and I scripted and everything, and I just plain forgot. How embarrassing.
Boy, it's my favorite.
Yeah, I spent 5 hours grabbing footage for it, and then I just totally forgot about it in post.
Yeah, so it is a good time to be a PS1 fan because you have like probably the best mod for ever for HDMI now. It's even better than using a PS3 as a PS1. So this is really, really cool stuff. Speaking of, PS1 Digital has gotten an update. This is the HDMI mod. What's neat about this is that depending on what kind of game it is, whether it's like a 3D game or a 2D game, or a game with like 3D elements, there are different settings that you can use on the PS1 Digital to make the game look better. Obviously, for a 2D game, you want super sharp pixels. Some people may want rounded out features on 3D looking games to make them look a little less harsh. I tend to like everything sharp. Maybe that's just me, but I even the 3D games, I kind of want them to be blocky, if that makes any sense, because that's
how they were made.
How they were, yeah, exactly. So, but to each their own on that stuff. But what's cool is you could set up specific profiles, like if you want to put it on like the overclock mode, so that you can switch resolutions real quickly. You could do that for like Chrono Cross, for instance. Chrono Cross has that issue. Xenogears, I think, has that issue too. So it made it almost impossible to play before this. You could get a Rad 2X and that would be pretty good, but like on an OSSC or a FrameMeister, it's unbearable because you have to go in and out of
Yeah, changing resolutions on a FrameMeister is pretty brutal.
The FrameMeister probably handles it the worst.
Yeah, it's like a couple seconds. It's bad.
Yeah, there are a couple games on the Saturn that I had to put up with that as well, and they were action games. So yeah, but this one has modes to counteract those switches, and it does it in spades. Like it's seamless. People have said that there is like in using certain modes for certain games, it is just like playing the original. It may even be better because if you have an X station, there's no loading, no wait load time when you're switching to the menu. So I am excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And the final thing that I wanted to go over was there is a light gun that is finally up for order that is meant to work with Windows and Linux at the moment. But what's really cool is that it's meant to work with current displays. Light guns for the longest time have been unusable on modern screens. You can only use them with CRTs due to the way that CRTs worked.
Yeah, the only ways we've been able to work around this was the Nintendo Wii and the PlayStation Move because they don't function. They don't interact with your TV. They interact with sensors that you set up near your TV. Yeah, which is a great idea.
Well, this thing doesn't even have a sensor bar, which is even cooler. It has like a camera in it that interacts with a border that gets put around the emulator or whatever game you're playing. And it's supposed to work with pretty much anything and then function like a mouse. When you do it. So let's say if you want to play Duck Hunt, you load up your favorite NES emulator and you can play Duck Hunt, no problem. And it'll do it in this like border that they use for targeting. It apparently works extremely well. Like if you want to play like the House of the Dead versions for the PC, which are pretty good. The original House of the Dead for the PC is probably the best port of it that we have. It's better than the Saturn port, and I don't think there are any other ports of the original game, right?
Not as far as I know.
Yeah, so the PC port is really it. I mean, unless you can find an arcade cabinet of it. And that game worked off of, mouse. You click where you want to shoot. So the Sinden light gun's perfect for it. And it's supposed to work with PS1 emulators and Saturn emulators and all that stuff. Well, the guy who there is somebody who is working on it on Twitter. I forget, it's passing me by right now, but I think it might be one of the devs for the Sinden light gun, or the dev. He wants to make it work for Mister. If that can happen, we have basically nearly identical like console simulations, and you can use light gun with it. Like, in a modern times. I've been clamoring for this forever. I love light gun games, and I just kind of had to accept the fact that I will never I play them in a reasonable way ever again. I particularly really like the Battle Clash games on Super Nintendo. I really love those because they're kind of similar to Punch Out, believe it or not. There are two games on there in the Battle Clash series, and they're both a lot of fun. I really like even just like the Menacer like 6-pack game for the Genesis.
Sure.
I love Snatchers game like gun mode.
Yeah, the few times where you have to actually break out your what is it called, Justifier.
Yeah, but that was so much fun. Remember when we used to play it with my light gun?
Yeah,
like,
I did that one time. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so much fun because you're like, oh man, I have to pick this up. Like it's been laying here this whole time.
Yep.
I could play some Lethal Enforcers on Sega CD again. So I'm excited on the concept of it. Of course, Mister does not have a fully working PS1 or Saturn core yet, but they are working on them, and they are looking good. So maybe eventually we'll be able to play, Time Crisis, which is my favorite light gun series of all time. I love the
Yeah, that is
Time
a
Crisis
lot of
games.
fun.
I love all of them, but the first one has like a place in my heart because I played the shit out of it when it came out on PS1, and because I had quite a few GunCon games back in the day. I really love light gun stuff, and I got a lot of the light gun games for the GunCon 2 as well. I have the only two GunCon 3 games, so and one of them has the other game in it.
Yeah.
It was a Time Crisis 4 is on both discs. But
Yeah, and otherwise it's Dreadstorm Pirates and Time Crisis Raising Storm, I think.
yeah, exactly. But it's worth owning the Time Crisis 4 separately because it has like all the bonus modes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not on there on the compilation. So yeah, I'm just excited that we have something that works and has also prospects to expand into other things that I care about. So I love that Mr. Project, man. CPS2 core is coming right along as well. So I think they've released 2 batches of beta games, including this latest one had Alien vs Predator, and
Nice.
I think it's accurate in timing up to 20 minutes, which is insane. That is insanely accurate. I think it gets a frame off after 20 minutes, which that's negligible, right? So, in terms of timing, so it works just like the original hardware, but like on a modern screen. It's amazing. Anything else that you want to talk about, Lotus?
Well, just as far as stuff I've been playing, I finished Mortal Shell, so I did
Oh,
that. I
great.
did that. Don't get hit. Beat the final boss run, and I've recently started Code Vein, another Souls-like. It's just like anime Souls.
Yeah, I was
So
wondering about that.
yeah, I'm moving along in that as well. I'm through the not on Orlando level, so we're cruising.
I have been playing Resident Evil 6, believe it or not.
The best game in the series.
It is not. I was, you know what? I was willing to give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like everybody dogpiled on it. This game deserves it.
Yeah.
I've been playing it with my buddy Retro Gamer, friend of the show from
Sure,
Ireland,
sure.
and he, like, straight up, there's so much going on, like, unlike any other Resident Evil game. Like, there's just so much chaos going on, and like, not all of it's predictable, and it's very odd, and it's very messy, and like, it is impossible to care less about the story. The story is, and Resident Evil was all about story.
I remember looking this up like years ago, but apparently because you could play as different characters chapters, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to play as Chris this time. I want to play as Leon this time.
Yeah.
But apparently some of their cutscenes like spoil elements of other characters' stories.
Yeah.
So I remember looking up online somewhere. There's like a correct order to play in so you don't fuck up your own storytelling.
Well, I think you're supposed to start with Leon because that's like the main one. And then
I mean,
like, all
I don't know what
ones
the
are kinda
order
like the
is, but
offshoots.
it just drives me crazy that somebody had to come up with like a right way to do it.
Yeah, the Chris one apparently feels like very fucking incomplete. Like the environments are just very sparse. Like
Nice.
it's just long enough to make it a thing.
Sure.
And they kind of pad it. So like that's terrible. Apparently, like that's the last one you're supposed to do. So that's really disappointing. And I wanted to like it. You know, like I went in going like, maybe it's not the best, but I 5 has its detractors, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time. So, let's go. Let's move forward. And it is not good.
Nobody liked 6.
Yeah, and it's sold better than anything, I think.
Well, yeah, that's the irony, because like after 4, people flipped when 5 was coming out.
5 was great.
They were like, okay. But then 6 came out, like, oh, but now it's Chris Adley on it, the same game. Are you serious? And then it like actively tried to emulate Call of Duty, like literally, it was trying to do that. It's just like, if I wanted to play Call of Duty, I'd fucking buy a Call of Duty game, dude.
No, just make more Resident Evil 5, but like 5-year, like I don't know, like like 5 has its stupidity, like boulder punching and all that shit, but like there's some legitimate good stuff in there, and it's a really fun co-op game. You could say what you want about it in terms of story, but like the actual gameplay is a lot of fun.
Yeah, the story really soured a lot of the experience for me, honestly, but I will admit that the gameplay is probably the best Resident Evil had ever been up to that point.
Yeah, and it's like 4, but it has strafing, and
you can move while aiming. That's like a new thing starting in the PS3 360 era.
It has an upgrade system. There's no longer a merchant. It's in between missions, but it's still pretty fun to upgrade your characters and all that stuff, and put them in stupid costumes. And there's always been stupid costumes in Resident Evil, so
since the beginning
that fits. But like the co-op stuff was a lot of fun. I played through that game with a friend, like when that came out, and I loved it. I had a really good time with it. And 6 is like, I'm just playing it to play it. Like we're making fun of it as we're playing it, and that's fun. But like,
that's what's gonna happen to me when I finally get to that era of Resident Evil games. Like, it's time for 6. I gotta get through this to get to 7.
Well, it's. I don't know what they were thinking. There's like a lot of like scripted events that kill you. Like that have the ability to kill you. If you die, you have the. It's very Call of Duty. You have the option of bleeding out. Just like in Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
So you could shoot. You could attempt to like revive yourself by shooting a zombie and successfully killing it. Or your buddy can revive you, but it's so chaotic that you may not even know that you're being attacked. Like Resident Evil was all about like you mastering your environment and being able to get around, the challenges that are in front of you.
And it's typically very quiet until like the chaos starts happening when the enemies attack. Otherwise, you're like slowly creeping around. Like, I hope there's no threat here or whatever.
Yeah. So even 4 and 5 that. They weren't survival horror games. They were action games.
Yeah, 4 and even then 4 and 5 were pretty quiet games
they were
until
crafted
like
well.
a big set piece moment happens.
Nobody ever attacked me like, and I didn't deserve it, or like it was because I didn't survey the area
there might have been ambush moments or whatever, but it's not like I can't tell what's happening on my screen.
Well, 6 like I'm like hit in the back constantly. Constantly, and you don't need to clear all the zombies, and you shouldn't in a lot of the situations. You should just kind of like get through them and move on, and it's just not.
That makes more sense for the older games. Like, I gotta save ammo, I should just run by. But like in a shooter though,
this like it makes more sense to run by them all, and you're collecting challenge points every time you kill them. It's weird and not good. What a giraffe blowjob of a game. Do you remember that old meme?
Yeah, the cover art.
Once you see it, you can never unsee it.
Well, that's what that is.
But the 6 just looks like that somehow.
It looks bizarre. Yeah.
But I'm gonna get through it eventually and get to eventually, so I can play 7 in the Revelations games. I'm actually pretty excited about all 3 of those. But I gotta play them all, Lotus.
I know the feel. I played fucking Survivor 2.
Ugh. You're gonna have to play Operation Raccoon City at some point.
Yeah, I'll at least give it a token try. The only games I might actually skip are Outbreak because I just don't think they're viable with a single player.
Yeah, I think you.
Like they look like they're good games, but I don't think they're happening.
That was early PS Online, right?
Yeah.
For PS2, if I remember right. And you didn't. You had to like signal each other with like scripted commands or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you were not necessarily in the same room as each other, so you might have to settle for that. It's like Peace Walker signaling.
You might be able to do system link with those or LAN with those.
Yeah, but I mean, am I really setting that up ever?
Come on over. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Bring a TV.
Let's take 6 months to play a Resident Evil game.
You've done it.
Anything else?
Anything else before we move on?
Nah, I think I'm good.
Okay, that's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. The outro not as good as the intro. While there, please give us thumbs up, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. That helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we'll be talking more about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, and I'm currently uploading a platinum run of Dark Souls 3, getting in on exclusive live streams like Armored Core. No, I had it right. Selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play. My outro isn't as good as my intro either. No. Or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, well, we will see everybody on Thursday.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.